Hello, students. You can do it. When is that last time someone said that to you? In your daily hectic life, you might not always. Hi, students. I'm Dr. Anurag Agarwal, and today, Hmm. Hi, students, girls and boys. Students, a very famous quote says, people often say that motivation doesn't last. Well, neither does bathing. That's why we recommend it daily. And this is the reason I feel that you should be motivated again and again. Always remember, Sunday is not a day of the week. So never think of doing your work on Sunday, as it will never come and you will end up losing yourself. If you remember, R.L. Stevenson wrote, and I quote, everyone lives by selling something. And if you are not taking care of your customer, your competitor will. In the same way, students, you are your own competition. Never let anyone chase you, because it is your inner desire, after all, which will take you further and further. Innumerable students talk to me directly on phone and queries about their career and future growth in the field of literature. And for such students who have a deep passion for desire for literature and who want to spread love and studies together, literature is the best option for you. And when we talk about literature, MA entrance examinations for the top universities like Delhi University, JNU University, Jama Millia, Christ University, Christian colleges, Presidency University, Banaras Hindu University, University of Allahabad, and there are innumerable universities and colleges all over the country which come in our mind. It becomes the most essential dream of every literature aspirant, every literature lover to get admission in these top-notch colleges. Since my past career of 20 years, I have taught students who wanted to prepare for the entrance examinations and want to excel with a strong base and foundation in the very beginning of their master's program. And for such students, we have short courses for MA entrances also, which is being taught to the students in order to keep the basic things in mind. Also, the students who are preparing for the PhD entrances can contact and join the direct classes, direct live classes, the video classes. And I'm sure hundreds of students are aware of the fact that I teach directly through my live classes all over India. And the students can join my new batches and can take the demo classes live session and then join the regular courses. Students who are aspiring for UGC NET 2019, students who are aspiring for IES Mains in English Literature 2020-2021 can also be well aware that the new batches have already started. And some of the batches are going to start in July. Always remember one thing, students, your motivation for success lies within you. And if you are strong enough, dedicated, the path is yours now. Hmm. Hmm. हाँ, थोड़ा सा और better करना. Hi, students, boys and girls. A very famous quote says, people often say that motivation doesn't last. Well, neither does bathing. That's why we recommend it daily. And this is the reason I feel you should be motivated again and again. Always remember, someday is not a day of the week. So never think of doing your work on someday, as it will never come and you will end up losing yourself. R.L. Stevenson has written, and I quote, everyone lives by selling something. And if you are not taking care of your customer, your competitor will. In the same way, students, you are your own competition. Let, never let anyone chase you because it is your inner desire, after all, which will take you further and further. Innumerable students talk to me directly on phone and they have a lot of queries regarding their career and their future growth in the field of literature. For such students who have a deep passion for desire for literature and who want to spread love and studies together, literature is the best option for you. And when we talk about literature, there are so many competitions which the students have to face, which the students have to decide if they are opting for high level universities, top notch universities to take admission in the MA entrances. It is actually very tough. So they can be a part of OSN Academy. They can be a part of the History of English Literature course, because History of English Literature is something which is needed by even a BA student, which is needed by every aspirant of any competition, every student who is a literature student. Without the History of English Literature, you cannot come up with flying colors. And it becomes the most essential dream of every literature student to get admission in the top colleges of the country. And since my past career of 20 years, I have taught innumerable students who wanted to prepare and now they are having great careers, and who wanted to excel with a strong base and foundation and determination in the very beginning of their master's program. I will always advise students to take care of their basic foundation with the history of English literature, because that is of utmost importance. And for such students, I would always advise them to be a part of OSN Academy's foundation courses, that is History of English Literature course. Don't take the UGC NET program course. Don't take the IES mains course. Don't take any course, but you should be well aware of the basic foundation from the Anglo-Saxon period to the postmodern. And this will make you you can say a epical student. यहाँ तो कट करना पड़ेगा. Since my past career of 20 years, I have taught students who wanted to prepare for the entrances exams and want to excel with a strong base and foundation in the very beginning of their master's program. For such students, नीचे करिए फिर से. हाँ 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 हाँ. ये भी ठीक नहीं था, फिर से आइए तीसरी बार, क्योंकि ये बड़ा स्ट्रांग होना चाहिए पहला वाला. देखिएगा तीसरा बेस्ट होना चाहिए. हाय स्टूडेंट्स, गर्ल्स एंड बॉयज, अ वेरी फेमस. एक काम करिए, ये कैमरा है, आप ऊपर ले जाते हैं तो हमारी आंख देखिए ऊपर जाती है. आप इसको जो है यहाँ रखिए, यहाँ पे, और ऐसे ऐसे बढ़ाते जाइए. यहीं पे रखिए, लेकिन यहाँ पे इसको क्या है कि ये है कैमरा, तो यहाँ पे हम देखते हैं. नहीं नहीं नहीं, पूरा रखिए, फुल खोलिए, बताएं. नीचे करिए, गर्ल्स एंड बॉयज नीचे करिए, और नीचे, और ये और और अब नहीं जाएगा. आप उसको नीचे तो करिए, और नहीं नहीं, ये जो गर्ल्स है वो यहाँ पे ले आइए. क्यों? अच्छा चलिए, अच्छा चलिए, ठीक है, रुकिए. Hi students, girls and boys. A very famous quote says, people often say that motivation doesn't last. Well, neither does bathing. That's why we recommend it daily. And this is the reason I feel that you should be motivated again and again. Always remember, someday is not a day of the week. So never think of doing your work on someday, as it will never come and you will end up losing yourself. R.L. Stevenson wrote, and I quote, everyone lives by selling something. And if you are not taking care of your customer, your competitor will. In the same way, students, you are your own competition. Never let anyone chase you, because it is your inner desire, after all, which will take you further. Innumerable students talk to me directly on phone and queries about their career and future growth in the field of literature. For such students who have a deep passion and desire for literature and who want to spread love and studies together, literature is the best option for you. And when we talk about literature, MA English entrance examinations for top universities in India comes in our mind. And it becomes the most essential dream of every literature aspirant to get admission in these top universities and colleges. Since my past career of 20 years, I have taught innumerable students who wanted to prepare for the entrance examinations, for UGC NET exams, for PGT exams, for IES mains in English literature, and who have wished to excel with a strong base and foundation in the very beginning of the master's program. And for this strong base and foundation, I will advise each and every student to take the course of the history of English literature, so that this history of English literature should be so well versed that you can compete any examination. Also, the students who are preparing for PhD entrances may contact for the direct live classes, for the upgraded study materials, and I'm sure hundreds of students are aware of the fact that I teach directly through my live classes all over India with the help of top rankers who are a technologically based company from Bangalore. And the students can join my new batches and can take all the live sessions, the demo sessions, and then join the regular course. Students who are preparing for UGC NET 2019-2020 and who are preparing for IES mains 2019-2020 can talk to me and can enroll for their courses directly. Always remember one thing, students, that your motivation for success lies within you. If you are strong enough, dedicated, the path is yours now. So, well, students, so today I'm going to start with something which is so important that every student, aspirant of UGC NET particularly, should know these important points, and these are coming under the section of theories. Today, we are going to uh, I'm going to explain some very important theories for the latest examination of UGC NET to be conducted in the last week of June. So the first theory which I'm going to teach is Stranger King theory. Stranger King theory. This Stranger King theory helps to understand the global colonialism. Now, students, let me tell you first what is colonialism. Many of you must have studied in your history chapters and even in civics, but in literature, it has a great impact on the post-colonial studies. Colonialism is a practice of domination, which involves the subjugation of one people to another. Colonialism is not a modern phenomenon. World history is full of examples of one society gradually expanding by occupying or adjusting territories nearby, settling its people on the newly conquered territory. And the ancient Greeks set up colonies, as did the Romans. So, colonialism is not restricted to a specific time or place. Nevertheless, in the 16th century, colonialism changed decisively because of technological developments in navigation that began to connect more remote parts of the world. And thus, the modern European colonial project emerged when it became possible to move large number of people across the ocean and to maintain political sovereignty in spite of geographical dispersions. This entry uses the term colonialism to describe the process of European settlement and political control over the rest of the world, including the Americans, Australia, and parts of Africa and Asia. So, coming back to the theory, the Stranger King theory argues that many indigenous people accepted the imposition of foreign colonial influence, that is, the stranger king, as a means of conflict resolution. And in doing so, the stranger king theory challenges binary oppositions of tradition versus modernity and nationalism versus imperialism. Now you will ask, what is binary opposition? So binary opposition is a key concept in structuralism, which is a theory of sociology, a theory of anthropology and linguistics that states that all elements of human culture can only be understood in relation to one another and how they function within a larger system or the overall environment. The Stranger King theory is used as an analytical tool to understand and reconstruct the history of interaction between the Europeans and the Asians in the Southeast Asia and proposes alternative frameworks of understanding colonialism, which highlights the imposition of colonialism not as a result of the breaking of the spirit of local communities by brute force or the rule of selfish leaders, but as a people's rational and productive acceptance of opportunity offered. And this theory was developed by Marshall Sahlins in the Pacific region and is described by David Henley using the North Sulawesi region in Indonesia as his prime case study. So the second theory which I'm going to teach you is media theory. What is media theory, students? In an era when the media have grown to be one of the most dominant forms of culture in North America, so dominant in fact that they can now be seen as the pinnacle of commercial culture. Literature paves the way to media, and therefore an explanatory theory of the media becomes paramount. Yet, considering the intimate relationship between culture and media, and that for many the media have become their culture, the predominant facts of media which characterize the intersection of the American culture and media when viewed in the context of democratic political system, the treatment of politics as entertainment, the focus of image over the substance, especially pertaining to politicians and their positions, monopoly ownership of the media by the corporations, the uniformity of the perspective from which the media cover political news, the media's seemingly vast political power. And the media theory refers to the complex of social, political, philosophical principles which organize the ideas about the relationship between media and society. And within this is a type of theory called normative theory, which is concerned with what the media ought to be doing in society rather than they actually do. The next theory which I have designed for you is Planetarity by Gayatri Spivak. Indian scholar Gayatri Chakravarti Spivak describes her views on a new comparative literature in Planetarity, a chapter from the short novella Death of a Discipline. And Gayatri Spivak illustrates her beliefs on the importance of reading, clearly citing that anyone who believes that a literary education should not still be sponsored by universities must allow that one must be able to read. And this concept, which may seem quite obvious, undermines the idea that people must be able to act independently. And this translates into something much greater than simply being able to read, but rather the power individuals have in being able to act independently. Gayatri Spivak outlines the globe to be our own computers. This means that it allows us to think that we can control it. And the concept of planetarity circulates around the idea that globalization is driven by capitalist demands for resource extraction and profit. This ignores the earth, the living space that we inhabit. Spivak attempts to recreate an image of ourselves and of our lives that will allow us to override the globe. She argues for the destruction of the borders that divide the areas of academic study. And while it is unclear whether or not Spivak proposes this as an image for the future of the human race, her plan seems unrealistic and largely incompatible with modern society. Her argument relies heavily on the notion that we can overcome divisions between us by acknowledging the larger things that unify us. And the next theory, which I would like to share with you, is a very important theory known as third space theory. The third space theory is a post-colonial socio-linguistic theory of identity and community realized through language or education. It is attributed to Homi K. Bhabha. Third space theory explains the uniqueness of each person, uniqueness of each actor or context as a hybrid. And in the colonial discourse, hybridity is a term of abuse for those who are products of mixed breeds. It is imbued in the 19th century and scientific racist thought. In fact, the concept of hybridity occupies a central place in the post-colonial discourse. Bhabha has developed his concept of hybridity from the literary and the cultural theory of basically to describe the construction of culture and identity within the conditions of colonial inequity and antagonism. For Bhabha, hybridity is a process by which the colonial governing authority undertakes to translate the identity of the colonized within a singular universal framework, but then fails, producing something familiar but new. The third space is basically a mode of articulation, a way of describing a productive and not merely reflective space that engenders new possibilities. It is an interruptive, integrative space of new forms of cultural meaning and production, blurring the limitations of existing boundaries and calling into question established categorizations of the culture and identity. In simple words, we can say the third space is a post-colonial sociolinguistic theory of identity and community realized through language or education. Then we have contact zone theory. Mary Louise Pratt defines contact zone as social spaces where cultures meet, clash, grapple with each other, often in context of highly asymmetrical relations of power such as colonialism, slavery, or their aftermaths as they are lived out in many parts of the world today. Mary Louise Pratt has called the contact zone can help illuminate important socio-cultural tensions and values. Pratt situates the contact zone theory in autoethnography and ethnographic text. Now I'll tell you something about the concept of carnivalesque. क्वेश्चन आपसे पूछते हैं कि in which work did Michael Bakhtin propose the concept of carnivalesque? So the name of that work is Rabelais and His World. And if we talk about in the popular sense, the word carnival means a festival or a traveling amusement show. And Bakhtin used the term carnival to refer not only to such festivities, celebrations during which commoners were temporarily free to transgress all kinds of written or unwritten social ecclesiastical laws, but also to to low or popular culture such as fair and spontaneous folk drama, which also includes the puppet shows. So in this way, people were free to flout all the social norms by coarse joking and indulging in profanity. So that is known as the concept of carnivalesque. And then I'll tell you one important thing which has 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 is important for this examination, that is known as uh, उसका क्या नाम है, the term is monologic, dialogic or polyphonic. So here I would like to tell you that the terms monologic, dialogic or polyphonic, all these terms are used by Bhaktin in his discussion of language and literature. And Bhaktin believes a text has different voices and that their use disrupts the authority of a single voice. And in his book, Problems of Dostoevsky's Poetics of 1929, he makes a contrast between the novels of Tolstoy and those of Dostoevsky. In his view, Dostoevsky's novels are dialogic or polyphonic, while those of Tolstoy monologic, that is of single voice. So ये चीज आपको ध्यान रखनी होगी कि अगर इस पे कोई क्वेश्चन आता है तो you can able to solve it. Then एक वर्क है जिसका नाम है द एसे फ्रॉम वर्क टू टेक्स्ट. द एसे फ्रॉम वर्क टू टेक्स्ट is written by Ronald Barthes, and Ronald Barthes has made the distinction between work and text in his essay From Work to Text. So ये चीज भी ध्यान रखिएगा that the former is the work and the latter is the text. Work and text are two ways in which the literary object might be viewed. And a work traditionally is associated with certain material qualities, occupying a bookshelf, having certain dimensions and tangibility. And a text, on the other hand, resists easy classification according to the traditional categories. So then there is a term which I remember is intertextuality. First of all, who coined this term intertextuality? Julia Kristeva. And intertextuality is the condition of interconnectedness among the text, or the concept that any text is an amalgam of others, either because it exhibits signs of influence or because its language inevitably contains common points of reference with other texts through such things as illusion, quotation, genre, style. And a good example of intertextuality is T.S. Eliot's The Wasteland. Correct? So then there is a term, who coined the term genotext and phenotext? Julia Kristeva. The term genotext refers to underlying foundations of language and the underlying play of energies and drives which gives rise to a text and which can be discerned through various linguistic devices. And those various linguistic devices may be rhyme, melody, and rhythm, but which is itself not linguistic. And the term phonotext, on the other hand, denotes communicative language. It is a structure which obeys the rules of communication and presupposes a subject of enunciation and addressee. Okay. Now I remember a term, theater of the cruelty. Theater of the cruelty, जिसमें नाम आता है एंटोनिन एट्रॉयड. And theater of cruelty is a surrealist form of theater theorized by Antonin Artaud in his book, The Theater and Its Double. And Antonin spoke of cruelty not in the sense of violent behavior, but rather the cruelty it takes to show an audience a truth that they do not wish to see. इसी तरह से एक टर्म है थिएटर ऑफ साइलेंस. हु इज एसोसिएटेड विद थिएटर ऑफ साइलेंस? जीन जेक्स बर्नार्ड. Jeeks, Jane Jakes Bernard is associated with theater of silence. Then there is a term hypertext. Who coined the term hypertext? Ted Nelson. And a hypertext is a text displayed on a computer or other electronic devices with references, means hyperlinks, to the other text that the reader can easily access, usually by a mouse click or a key press sequence. And apart from the running text, hypertext may contain images, may contain tables, and other presentation devices too. Then there is a term avant text. Who coined the term avant text? The term was coined by Jean Bellarmine Noël, and this term occurs in Bellarmine Noël's book known as The Text and the Avant Text. So this is also important. Who has popularized the term logocentrism? Jacques Derrida. According to Derrida, the entire Western tradition of thought, right from the Plato, favors speech over writing, and he calls this logocentrism. And the term comes from logos, that is the Greek word that means word, truth, reason, and law. So logo means to speak, and that this word is used for God's self-revelation. A further sense of logos in fourth gospel is the word of God, his self-revelation to man, which denotes the central truth revealed to man by God. Clear? So we can move to a term known as epic theater. Who is associated with epic theater? Bertolt Brecht. Epic theater was a theatrical movement arising in the early to the mid 20th century from the theories and the practice of a number of theater practitioners, including Erwin Picaster, Bertolt Brecht. And many have argued that Bertolt Brecht did not coin the term epic theater. It was Erwin Piscator who claimed that he was the inventor of this term. Then there is a term alienation effect. Who has coined the term alienation effect? It was again Bertolt Brecht. So these things have been of importance always, which the students have to know. And one term which I remember is school of resentment. Who has coined the term school of resentment? Harold Bloom. It is Harold Bloom. And Harold Bloom coined this term to describe the related schools of literary criticism which have gained prominence in academics since the 1970s, and which Bloom contends are preoccupied with politics and social activism at the expense of the aesthetic values. And the school of resentment is usually defined as scholars who wish to enlarge the Western canon by adding more minority, political, and female authors, regardless of aesthetic merit of their writings, or who argue that the canon promotes sexist, racist, or otherwise biased values. So Bloom contends that the school of resentment threatens the nature of the canon and may lead to this eventual demise. And the term occurs in Bloom's book. This is important. The Western Canon, the books and the school of the ages. ये पूरा नाम है students. The Western Canon, the books and the school of the ages. So ये ध्यान रखिएगा. So today we have done a lot of important theories and so many important terms which are and have been always important. So this is a lecture which I have tried to give to the students who are watching me here, and it is just a part of the regular lectures in my live classes which are going on pan India level. So students who wish to feel to get the best out of their literature values, of their love for literature, to qualify the high level examinations of India, they may get in touch. They may get all my guidance through and through my classes, through my updated study material, through my test series. And yes, now the test series are given to the students through my video. So that is a great, experience that the students are solving my test series through the video classes and getting the answers and scrutinizing themselves that where they stand. So students, goodbye to all of you and wish you a very happy and good luck to your exams. And I hope my students and the students who are watching me, they will be doing their best. And those whoever wish to get themselves a part of OSN Academy, most welcome for them. Thank you, students.